Consistency is the greatest proof of discipline, and discipline is the foundation of destiny. Greatness does not arrive suddenly. It does not come because you wish for it. It comes because you force yourself into the habits that lead to it. Every dream, every goal, every vision that you carry inside of you will demand a price. And the price is not simply talent. It is not simply opportunity. It is consistency. You see, many people begin well. They get inspired. They set goals. They make declarations. But life is not changed by declarations. Life is changed by determination. The difference between the one who arrives and the one who remains behind is the ability to continue when it is no longer convenient. Consistency is doing the right thing long after the excitement of beginning has disappeared. You cannot live on motivation alone. Motivation wakes you up. Consistency keeps you going. Motivation makes you excited for a season. Consistency makes you fruitful for a lifetime. If you only move when you feel like it, you will never build anything lasting. Your feelings are not dependable. Your discipline is. Every time you force yourself to show up, every time you do the work, even when your body says no, you are building a future that feelings can never take from you. The secret of falling into place is not magic. It is management. And the greatest thing you must manage is yourself. Time must be managed, energy must be managed, and your commitment must be managed. When you master yourself, you master your environment. When you govern your habits, you govern your destiny. Everything begins to align, not because the world changes, but because you refuse to quit. Look at nature. The sun rises every morning without missing a day. The moon shows up every night in its appointed time. The seasons come, one after another, without delay. That is consistency. Creation itself testifies that order is born from repetition. If the universe obeys consistency, how much more should you? If the earth rotates without failing, why should you live in failure because of inconsistency? Consistency is not about perfection. It is about persistence. You will stumble, you will make mistakes, you will have setbacks. But consistency means you rise again, you continue again, you press again. The harvest belongs not to the one who plants once, but to the one who waters daily. A single effort does not guarantee success, but sustained effort guarantees progress. Force yourself into consistency. Train your mind, discipline your habits, command your body. Do what you said you would do, even when no one is watching. Do it again and again and again. Every repetition is a seed, and seeds never stay buried. In time, they break the ground, they grow roots, they bring fruit. Your life will expand in the direction of your habits, and your destiny will rise on the strength of your discipline. The truth is this: when you are consistent, everything falls into place. Your relationships strengthen, your finances grow, your health improves, your purpose becomes clearer. The world does not reward the occasional effort. It rewards the relentless one. Life bends in favor of those who refuse to bend in their commitment. The door of destiny does not open to wishers. It opens to the consistent. So force yourself. Show up when it is raining. Show up when you are tired. Show up when you are discouraged. Show up when no one claps for you. The crown of success is given to the one who refuses to leave the track. Do not let laziness steal your future. Do not let inconsistency rob your destiny. What you do daily determines what you become permanently. Consistency is greater than motivation because motivation is a temporary spark, but consistency is the fire that keeps burning even when the spark has gone out. Motivation comes from a feeling, from a sudden burst of energy, from hearing a powerful message, watching an inspiring video, or reading a story that stirs something deep within you. But feelings are unstable. They rise and fall like waves. And if you depend on them to sustain your life's direction, you will find yourself moving forward one day and standing still the next. Consistency, however, is not built on feelings. It is built on choice. It is the deliberate decision to do the right thing, whether you feel like it or not. When you look at successful people, you often assume they are always motivated, always excited, always inspired. But in truth, they are not. What separates them from everyone else is not constant motivation, but consistent discipline. They understand that motivation may wake you up early for a few days, but consistency will wake you up early for years. Motivation might push you to start writing the first page of a book, but consistency is what will keep you writing until the last chapter is complete. Motivation may encourage you to join the gym, but consistency is what transforms your body over time. Motivation starts the process, but only consistency completes it. One of the greatest misconceptions is believing that you must always feel inspired to move forward. Waiting for motivation is a trap because motivation is seasonal and seasons change. There will be days when you don't feel inspired, when your body feels weak, when your mind feels clouded, and when your environment gives you every reason to stop. If you rely on motivation alone, you will pause, you will delay, and you may even quit. But when you build consistency, you train yourself to move regardless of what you feel. You are no longer a servant of emotion, but a master of discipline. Consistency creates results because it compounds. A small effort repeated every day becomes a big transformation over time. Reading a few pages daily eventually gives you knowledge that sets you apart. Saving a small amount consistently leads to wealth. Practicing a skill repeatedly creates mastery. It is not the occasional big effort that changes a life, but the small, consistent steps taken every single day. This is why consistency is greater than motivation. It multiplies what seems small into something powerful. Motivation often deceives you into expecting quick results, while consistency teaches you patience. People motivated by emotion want instant success. They want rewards without process, and when they don't see immediate results, they stop. But those who are consistent understand that growth is gradual, that fruit takes time to appear, and that harvest comes only after planting, watering, and waiting. They don't stop when they don't see progress immediately, because they know consistency guarantees results that motivation alone cannot deliver. Consistency builds credibility with yourself. Every time you keep your word, every time you do what you said you would do, you strengthen your own trust in your ability. You begin to respect yourself, and that respect creates confidence. Motivation may excite you for a moment, but consistency builds a character that others can trust and follow. When people see you showing up day after day, without excuse, they begin to believe in your commitment. Consistency makes you dependable not only to others, but also to yourself. Another reason consistency is greater than motivation is because consistency becomes identity. When you repeat something enough times, it becomes part of who you are. You no longer need to remind yourself, it becomes automatic. At first, you may struggle to wake up early, to study daily, to train your body, to discipline your tongue. But with consistency, what was once difficult becomes natural. You don't just do consistent things, you become a consistent person. That transformation of identity is what produces lasting success. Motivation is a visitor, but consistency is a resident. Motivation knocks on your door once in a while, but consistency lives with you daily. If you build your life on motivation, you build on sand, unstable and shifting. But if you build on consistency, you build on rock, unshakable and firm. Every achievement that matters in life rests on the foundation of consistency, because only consistency has the power to take you from beginning to completion, from idea to reality, from vision to fulfillment. Discipline is the price of destiny because nothing valuable is achieved without sacrifice. Dreams may be free, but destiny always costs something. You cannot buy greatness with wishes. You cannot reach purpose with laziness. You cannot enter success with excuses. Discipline is the currency you must spend to walk into the future you desire. Without it, talent remains unused, potential remains dormant, and vision remains only imagination. Destiny is not given to the careless. It is entrusted to those who prove through discipline that they can handle it. Many people have talent, but talent without discipline becomes wasted. You can have the greatest gift, the sharpest mind, the strongest desire, but if you do not discipline yourself, your gift will remain buried. Talent opens the door, but discipline keeps you inside the room. Opportunities may come, but only discipline makes you ready to seize them. Without discipline, opportunities are lost, resources are mismanaged, and time is wasted. Discipline is what turns talent into skill, and skill into achievement. Destiny demands order, and discipline creates order. A life without discipline is a life without structure, a life where energy is scattered, where priorities are confused, where time is abused. Discipline aligns your actions with your vision. It forces you to separate what is important from what is urgent, what is meaningful from what is distracting, what builds you from what drains you. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are telling your destiny that you are ready for more. Discipline is not punishment, it is preparation. Many fear discipline because they think it is restriction, but in truth, it is freedom. The person who disciplines their body with healthy habits gains freedom in health. The person who disciplines their finances gains freedom in stability. The person who disciplines their mind gains freedom and clarity. Discipline is the guardrail that protects your destiny from destruction. It may feel difficult at first, but it secures the future you long for. Destiny cannot be entrusted to the undisciplined because the undisciplined cannot be trusted. If you cannot control your appetite, how will you handle abundance? If you cannot control your time, how will you handle responsibility? If you cannot control your emotions, how will you handle leadership? Discipline is the proof that you can be trusted with more. Destiny requires maturity, and maturity is shown by the ability to say no to what distracts you and yes to what develops you. Discipline always demands sacrifice. You cannot hold on to everything and still move toward your purpose. To rise, you must let go of certain comforts, certain habits, even certain people. Discipline forces you to cut off what delays you, to resist what tempts you, and to choose what strengthens you. It may not be easy, but destiny is never cheap. You cannot pay for it with convenience. You pay for it with consistency, self-control, and focus. Those who lack discipline live in cycles of regret. They start things but never finish. They dream but never execute. They promise but never deliver. Without discipline, potential becomes frustration and visual becomes disappointment. But those who embrace discipline may suffer in the moment, yet their future is full of reward. Every act of discipline is a seed, and those seeds eventually grow into harvests of success, peace, and fulfillment. Discipline transforms who you are. It sharpens your mind, strengthens your body, and shapes your character. It takes you beyond the level of average and places you among those who can be relied upon. People admire talent, but they respect discipline. Talent entertains for a moment, but discipline inspires for a lifetime. When people see your discipline, they see proof that you are serious about your destiny. Destiny is a road, and discipline is the vehicle that carries you along that road. Without discipline, you will stop halfway, distracted by comfort, derailed by temptation, delayed by excuses. With discipline, you keep moving, even when the journey is long, even when the road is hard, even when others quit. Discipline ensures that you do not just start the journey toward destiny, but that you reach the destination that was prepared for you. Nature rewards repetition because creation itself is built on cycles, patterns, and rhythms that never fail. Every morning the sun rises. Every evening it sets. Every year the seasons come in their order without confusion or delay. The tides of the ocean follow their rhythm. The moon keeps its appointed place, and the earth continues its rotation without skipping a day. The universe is a constant testimony that consistency produces stability. Without repetition, there would be no order, and without order, life would collapse into chaos. Nature teaches us that success is not in doing something once, but in doing it again and again until the results manifest. Human life follows the same principle. Growth is never the product of a single action, but the outcome of repeated actions over time. A farmer does not plant one seed and expect an endless harvest. He plants, waters, waits, and continues to tend the field consistently. The ground responds to repetition. The harvest comes to the one who repeats the process faithfully. In the same way, your mind, your body, your skills, and your destiny respond to repeated effort. They do not open up at the sight of occasional attempts, but at the persistence of disciplined repetition. Repetition builds mastery. The musician who practices daily becomes skilled. The athlete who trains consistently becomes strong. The student who studies repeatedly gains wisdom. It is not brilliance in a moment that creates excellence, but the willingness to repeat the basics until they become natural. The world celebrates performance, but performance is born from private repetition. Every champion you see in public is the product of hours of unseen consistency. Nature shows us this truth because every visible manifestation is supported by an invisible cycle of repetition. Repetition also creates reliability. Just as you can rely on the sun to rise, people can rely on those who show up consistently. Reliability is one of the greatest assets of character, and it is built not through talent, but through consistent action. When you repeat something long enough, you prove to yourself and to others that you can be trusted. Just as the earth trusts gravity and the oceans trust the moon, life begins to trust the person who demonstrates consistency. Opportunities are given to the reliable, not the unpredictable. Nature also shows that repetition does not bring instant results, but eventual ones. A tree does not grow tall overnight. It grows because it continuously draws nutrients from the soil, continuously reaches toward the sun, and continuously survives the seasons. Growth is a reward of repetition, not a reward of occasional effort. Many people quit too early because they fail to understand this law. They expect results after 1 or 2 attempts, forgetting that the earth itself does not respond instantly. Patience is hidden in repetition, and reward is hidden in patience. Repetition shapes identity. When something is done consistently, it becomes part of what you are. The habit of waking early makes you disciplined. The habit of speaking positively makes you encouraging. The habit of practicing a craft makes you excellent. What you repeat shapes what you become. Just as the waves shape the rocks over time, repetition shapes character, skills, and destiny. You do not simply do things. The things you do repeatedly begin to do something to you. Nature proves that repetition sustains life. If the heart stopped beating consistently, life would end. If the lungs stopped breathing consistently, the body would collapse. If the earth stopped rotating consistently, balance would disappear. Everything alive is alive because of repetition. That truth should remind you that the same principle applies to your goals, your vision, and your future. Consistency keeps them alive while inconsistency kills them. Life itself is a gift of repetition, and destiny is also a product of it. Repetition also exposes commitment. Anyone can act once, but only the committed continue without pause. Just as the river continues to flow around obstacles, commitment keeps you moving regardless of circumstances. When you repeat, you prove that you are serious. When you continue, you demonstrate that you are invested. Nature respects commitment because creation responds to consistency. Just as the soil rewards the farmer who keeps planting, life rewards the person who keeps moving. Through repetition, nature shows us the wisdom of gradual growth. The oak tree begins as a seed, the mountain begins as shifting earth, the river begins as a stream. Nothing begins as greatness, everything becomes great through repetition. This is why nature never rushes, never skips, never abandons its rhythm. It moves in steady, repeated steps, and those steps always lead to fulfillment. Consistency is not about perfection, it is about persistence. Perfection is an illusion because no human being can live without mistakes, failures, or weaknesses. If you wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect ability before you act, you will never begin. If you measure your progress only by perfection, you will live in disappointment. But persistence allows you to keep moving despite imperfection, to keep trying despite setbacks, to keep believing despite failures. Persistence is the commitment to continue when everything else tells you to stop. Perfection focuses on outcomes, but persistence focuses on effort. People who chase perfection are easily discouraged because when results don't match their expectations, they give up. But those who value persistence keep going, even when the results are small, even when progress is slow, even when the reward is not immediate. They understand that destiny is not about one perfect step, but about many imperfect steps that eventually lead to fulfillment. A child does not learn to walk in one perfect attempt. The child learns by falling, standing, and trying again until walking becomes natural. In the same way, life is not conquered in one flawless action, but through continuous persistence. Persistence builds resilience. Every time you rise after falling, you develop strength you did not have before. Every time you push forward despite resistance, you train your character to endure. Resilience is not learned in comfort, it is forged in struggle. Those who seek perfection avoid struggle because they fear failure. But those who persist embrace struggle because they see it as part of the process. The mountain climber does not stop because of the steep slope. He persists, and in the persistence his body and spirit grow stronger. Persistence also reveals commitment. Anyone can perform well when conditions are easy, but persistence proves who is truly serious when conditions are hard. Success does not come to the one who begins with passion, but to the one who continues with persistence. The world is full of people who started with excitement, but few who endured to the end. History remembers not those who were perfect, but those who refused to give up. Persistence leaves a legacy that perfection cannot, because persistence shows courage, determination, and faith. Perfection is rigid, but persistence is flexible. A person seeking perfection fears mistakes and often avoids risks, but a person practicing persistence knows that mistakes are teachers, not enemies. They adjust, they adapt, they learn, and they try again. Perfectionism paralyzes people, but persistence empowers them. Persistence is the wisdom of saying, I may not have done it right this time, but I will do it again and again until I grow. That mindset is what separates dreamers from doers. Persistence also builds credibility with yourself. Every time you continue despite challenges, you prove to your own mind that you can be trusted. Confidence does not come from perfection, but from persistence. When you see yourself keep going, you begin to believe that you are capable of finishing. That belief creates momentum, and momentum creates breakthroughs. Consistency and persistence creates inner strength that perfectionism will never give you. Nature itself shows us the power of persistence. The river does not carve valleys in one day. It persists, flowing continuously until the hardest rock is shaped. The seed does not grow into a tree instantly. It persists, breaking the soil, reaching for the sun season after season until it becomes strong. Persistence is the natural law of growth. It respects no failure and fears no obstacle. It continues because persistence knows that eventually results must appear. Persistence transforms failure into progress. Every time you try and fail, you gather lessons that move you closer to success. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the process toward it. Those who seek perfection avoid failure and never learn, but those who persist embrace failure and grow wiser. Every attempt adds experience, every setback adds perspective, and every return adds strength. Persistence turns weakness into skill and disappointment into determination. When you look at people who have achieved greatness, you rarely see perfection, but you always see persistence. They failed exams, lost opportunities, made mistakes, faced rejection, but they refused to stop. They showed up when others quit. They tried again when others walked away. They endured when others surrendered. That is the essence of persistence. It does not promise that the journey will be easy, but it guarantees that the journey will continue. Everything aligns with consistency because life rewards those who refuse to give up. When you show up daily, when you commit yourself to the same principles, the same actions, the same discipline, the pieces of life begin to fit together. Consistency is the thread that weaves your relationships, your health, your finances, your career, and your purpose into a fabric of stability. Without it, life feels scattered and disconnected, but with it, everything gradually falls into order. Consistency strengthens relationships because trust is built on reliability. People do not trust words spoken once. They trust actions repeated over time. A friend who shows up consistently is valued more than one who appears occasionally. A leader who makes consistent decisions earns respect more than one who changes direction daily. Even in families, children feel secure when they see consistent love, consistent guidance, and consistent presence. Relationships thrive when consistency becomes the foundation because consistency communicates commitment. Health is also shaped by consistency. One healthy meal does not transform the body, and one workout does not create strength. But consistent choices over weeks, months, and years reshape health completely. The body responds to what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally attempt. Energy, strength, and wellness come not from perfection, but from consistency. Small daily actions accumulate into major results. Just as neglect compounds into sickness, discipline compounds into health. And the difference is consistency. Finances follow the same law. Wealth is not created by sudden luck, but by consistent management. Saving consistently builds stability, investing consistently creates growth, and spending consistently with discipline ensures security. Financial freedom is not the result of one big opportunity, but of many consistent, wise choices. People who lack consistency in their finances often find themselves trapped in cycles of debt and scarcity, while those who practice consistency experience stability and increase. Money, like life, aligns with the principle of repetition. Consistency also sharpens purpose. Many people feel confused about their calling or unclear about their vision because they quit too early. Purpose becomes clearer the longer you stay consistent with your passion. The writer who keeps writing eventually discovers their voice. The speaker who keeps speaking eventually finds their message. The leader who keeps serving eventually identifies their mission. Clarity does not arrive at the beginning. It appears in the middle of consistent practice. The more consistent you are, the more focused and aligned your purpose becomes. Consistency creates momentum, and momentum makes everything easier. At first, discipline feels heavy, habits feel difficult, and progress feels slow. But as you continue, consistency builds momentum, and momentum carries you forward with less effort. The student who studies daily finds exams easier. The athlete who trains regularly finds performance natural. The professional who works consistently finds opportunities chasing them. Momentum is the reward of consistency, and once momentum is built, life begins to align naturally in your favor. Consistency develops character, and character is what sustains success. Many people rise quickly through talent or opportunity, but fall just as quickly because they lack the consistency to remain. Character is built by the choices you make repeatedly. Integrity is proven by consistent honesty. Discipline is shown by consistent action. Faith is strengthened by consistent belief. Without consistency, character collapses under pressure, but with it, you stand firm no matter the circumstances. Consistency also attracts opportunities. People and systems are drawn to those who show they can be relied upon. Employers, leaders, and communities invest in people who consistently deliver. Opportunities are not usually given to the most talented, but to the most dependable. The world is full of talented people who never achieved their potential because they lacked consistency. On the other hand, those who were consistent, even with ordinary abilities, rose higher because life rewards reliability more than occasional brilliance. Consistency brings alignment between vision and reality. Dreams begin as ideas, but only consistency has the power to transform them into achievements. Every goal requires consistent steps, daily effort, repeated focus, constant commitment. When you remain consistent, doors open, paths clear, and resources appear because consistency aligns your actions with your vision. Life begins to cooperate with the person who refuses to quit. What once looked impossible becomes possible, not because it suddenly became easy, because persistence through consistency made it attainable.